Well, once again, we're back. I couldn't remember if I was competing with Walking Dead again today, but oh well. If I am, that's why we're on early. Uh, Give it a few seconds to let it roll through. I know I was asked a couple times today what time I'd be on. I hope you got the messages. And so, welcome everybody again to Sunday's live update. I'm going to do a little bit more updates. I'm going to actually try to go on live a little bit more often, kind of just throwing some random stuff, especially with when we're doing certain things. Yeah, I decided today, after this weekend, to talk about historical ghosts of the Old West, and get me the I hadn't seen. I'm ready. I got my 6-shooter. We're good to go. I'm ready. We can do this cowboy stuff. Kind of matches the whole, I guess, the duster and everything like that. I'll try it all at once later. Just not for you. No. So anyway, we actually got the opportunity to spend the weekend in Kanab, Utah. If you're not familiar with the area, it is actually known as Little Hollywood. Some of the most notorious westerns were filmed out there. John Wayne, Steve McQueen, just to name a couple, were famous for being out there filming. In fact, right now, as we're talking, Nicolas Cage is out there filming. I don't know if it's a western, but still pretty cool. I wish I could have seen him or at least talked to him. Maybe I could have got live with him, but that's okay. We do what we can. We actually went out there originally for the balloon festival they have out there, Balloon and Tunes, to kind of support that. But I went out there for a few other ulterior motives. One of the great things about the Kanab area is its western parts. In fact, all of the western United States, up and down, have quite a few different stories that relate to cowboys, and then it's also becoming more and more apparent that paranormal or hauntings are becoming more apparent. Now, one of the biggest ones that people talk about in this country is Tombstone, Arizona, and as a lot of people will tell you, the fight at the OK Corral actually never really happened at the OK Corral. It happened behind it, but it's easier to say OK Corral instead of open vacant lot. But there are ghost tours through there, and as I've told before, I don't really like doing ghost tours because a lot of that stuff is produced, and it's not really my thing. They might be fun, and I think most people might get a good entertainment. We'll go with that. Hello to you too. Who do we got in there? You got Dustin and Diane. Okay. Well, hello. So, and I go around with the urban legends, and there's actually one we're going to top on towards the end, which is actually quite interesting in the same area. But when it comes to paranormal hauntings of different Western characters, one that comes straight to the mind is Butch Cassidy of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. He was actually from the Beaver area, the Beaver Circleville area, which is in the northern part of Utah, northeastern. Well, actually, we'll just say northern because it's almost right in the middle. So it's quite what?
Not of Utah.
Beaver?
South.
No, it's just north of. Okay, I'll just go with it's north of us. So his homes are still standing. Well, one of them for sure is. There's a couple speculations on it, a few others. And it is said, originally it said that he was originally killed where he was, and then it wasn't, and back and forth. He also was notorious. He robbed the Silver Reef silver mine or silver bank, which is out there by Leeds, where I was doing a small paranormal investigation for my older sister, Teresa. We get an opportunity to learn about these characters, but the urban legends that surround them get a little bit difficult because is he haunting where he died? Is he haunting where he supposedly died? Is he haunting where? And so people always have the urban legends around characters such as that. So you get down into New Mexico, you got Billy the Kid. You can go throughout history and go Wild Bill Hickok. I've heard millions and millions of stories, but we'll go back to Kanab, and Kanab actually has stories that attribute to the Native Americans in that area, But then it gets even to some of the more historical areas, or sorry, characters. Then we get a little bit higher up, and it starts relating to hauntings of actual Western actors at the time. We took an opportunity to run over to the Perry's Lodge, which is the oldest lodge in Utah. It was all the stars stayed there when they would go filming out there in Kanab, and they had it was a beautiful place. All the original pictures there, some of the original artworks, things like that. Great place to start out and try. But I was kind of listening and looking up a few things about it. They were saying that the ghost of John Wayne haunts the halls there. I couldn't tell you why. But I would love to find the ghost of John Wayne. That would be one of the greatest things I could find. Steve McQueen too. I'd love both of those guys. That's why you hear me talk about those two. In fact, there's a bar out there where both John Wayne and Steve McQueen at the same time were kicked out of, because they loved to excessively drink. If you know anything about them. So what leads me to keep going with the further of the Western culture is that then we get into the Native American spirits, and through that area, it's really, really strong. Especially through the I've been told stories about the Makawai caves. I've been told literally hundreds of stories just of this little area, and this town is absolutely beautiful. If you get a chance to really visit the Western United States, Kanab, I just absolutely love Kanab. I love the people. I love everything about Kanab. And so what we're going to be doing, I'm going to be putting together a few little tours for myself to go through and go get some pictures and some information, because there's particular spots that I'd really like to investigate, especially the Perry House. I just got to figure out where to obtain the permission, because as I was sitting there in the Perry House with my wife as we were eating breakfast, you could actually watch some of the shadows walk right by the windows. And I kept watching over there, and I actually put on my sunglasses so it didn't look like I was being some freak looking at weird people. It was actually quite an interesting one, but I couldn't get a real solid look at anything, so I really wanted to take a time to look at this. And first, I thought the shadows might be just something from the outside, but during the entire weekend it was very dull, it was very rainy. There was nobody walking around that area, so as I was watching that, I got a real hankering to just really check that out. Let me take a second and see what we got going on. I'm actually in a haunted building in Fort Worth right now. Are you really? Shout out from Texas. Oh, yes, Texas. Okay, so what building are you in right now that's haunted? Let me know about that. And they are still around. May see or talk with them. I'm trying to, Karen. I hope to talk with him too. I mean, don't get me wrong, I really do. That's something that's really interested in me. I'd like to tell you that I've had face-to-face conversations, but some of the stuff I believe were, because I still believe in certain dream states that people do come to you, and that's where my ability to talk. Now, I have communicated indirectly by asking questions and then doing the EVPs, but I would love to just sit down and have a chat. I believe every ghost hunter in this planet would. Something to it, and good on them. I think that's excellent stuff. I believe, Cindy, all right. I love to be a ghost hunter. I love to be a ghost hunter too, and I love to meet you guys. And hi to Gail. Hi from Minneapolis. Well, hi from Utah. I guess we're back here now. Well, we were always in Utah, but we're in Kanab. So anyway, so as I was going through there, there's actually several other buildings. There's a Little Hollywood there where they have the old sets and stuff. Unfortunately, every time I go there, they seem to be closed, which really irks me off. And then I was actually finally, after so many years of trying, was able to get into one of the antique stores that I've been trying to get in for so long. And I'm going to have to sit down quietly and talk to that gentleman. Because literally, I was sitting there trying to look at certain objects, and you'd watch them move right in front of you. I'm not going to tell you which one, because first I have to have permission from them to advertise where I'm going, what I'm doing, things like that. This was a really cool antique establishment. It's in an old house. It was really interesting. Had stuff. It didn't date back. Some of the tools dated back towards the 1800s, but most stuff was probably around the 1950s, maybe the 1920s to the 1950s. Which 1920s, you still had a few cowboys running around with their guns and their holsters, and the horses refusing to conform, but there wasn't many. Most of them were just ranch hands that were running around. But hey, it really was a time. And a lot of people will tell me, "Hey, I could live in that time." You say that now, but I don't think you'd be able to see me live. But let's see what we got going on. How old are you when you became a ghost hunter? I was 16 years old. I was quietly doing it. I had some stuff. You got to understand, when I started becoming a ghost hunter, especially I lived here in Utah, the LDS Church, for the most part, a lot of the followers do not believe in ghosts. They have, and plus, I was 16 years old, and this was not as cool as it is now. There wasn't ghost hunters on where a million people become ghost hunters because they watch a TV show or Paranormal Activity. This was me learning from some of the best. I always say some of the best because Lorraine, I absolutely have my heart out to her. I sat there and I had to actually be very quiet about it because, I'm 16 years old. I had hair down, long hair, wore a Metallica shirt, ripped jeans, and a leather jacket in July. So I was already a weird kid, and you didn't get a lot of dates being even weirder than that. So I did a lot of it, and I started out with a disposable camera with a flash, and slowly graduated for what I was doing as I learned from the different people who were teaching me how to do it. Because, I originally went out in a graveyard and just started clicking pictures, and they said, "Well, what did you get?" I said, "Nothing." They said, "Well, why did you think you were going to get anything?" So I got to learn from some of the best, and I really am appreciative because it took what I could do as far as seeing paranormal and turned it into something that I can control and something that I love to do. Let's see. When did I start believing in ghosts? I think I was just a little kid, seven or eight, because of what I'd seen. But it was so sporadic, it's like that best friend thing where it's like, "Hey, you're not seeing anything, quit it, knock it off, there's nothing under your bed." Well, apparently there was.
Justin wants to know your thoughts on the untapped gates of hell.
Give me 1 second on that one. Doing a hunt right now, Richard. Okay, let's see. Melody Johnson, what is the scariest thing you've seen? Besides myself, I think one of the worst ones was I'm not really sure what it was. I don't believe it was ever human to begin with. The problem with it was so black, it was so dark, it was so, it burned right through you. It literally was to the point. This was one of the only times that I ever did a paranormal investigation, when I caught what I heard, that I actually had to walk out of the house. After seeing it, after feeling it, after being told what I was told, I had to walk out of the house. I sat out the house for a little while until I was able to regain myself, because I was actually shaking nervous because of how strong this really was. And this was probably about 7 years ago, I would say, 5 to 7 years ago. Let's see. I'm going to scroll up a little bit. Richard's at work. Okay. Where do you work, Richard? Do you have others work with you? I do on occasion. I have Cin's up north. She's gone on with me. I have Cindy Parker, who is a great clairvoyant who has done a lot of work with me. My wife has gone on paranormal investigations with me. It's not really her forte. She it scares her a little bit. She's getting more used to it after all the years. I have a couple friends that are willing to go with it, J.C. Riddle and Nathan Miller, stuff like that. But for the primary part, it's pretty much just me. For 90% of what I do, I go in by myself if I have to. I usually keep contact with somebody, so if anything was to happen, they know where I'm at, they know what's going on, they know what's going to be happening. So if there's something where like they haven't heard from me a certain amount of time, then they need to come check on me, make sure that everything's okay. So I keep everything safe at the same time. Let's see. You're handsome, not scary. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's wonderful. You got me blushing. I don't do, Do you think, I'm sorry, My reading's bad. I've had a long weekend out there in Kanab. I'm a little tired, so I do apologize. Do you see things flying off things? I'm assuming you're talking about seeing things like fly off shelves, or even possibly when you see the streaks come through, things like that that I've caught. Yes, on both counts. I've had a brick thrown at my head with nobody in the basement. I've had something fly in front of my face where it literally blackened out everything around me, where I couldn't even see the specks of light. It was for a matter of seconds, but it was quite interesting. I've actually seen a true orb going through a cemetery. That was actually, let me go with orbs. Be careful with orbs, okay? They just make sure they're a true orb and not dust, not bugs, things like that. So just be real careful. I know sometimes they'll take a picture. Oh, there's 1,000 orbs. You were just walking there. Just be real careful, okay? When I say true orbs, they're not usually perfectly round. The coloration's a little different, things like that. I've seen the ectoplasmic orbs through pictures and stuff like that. So just be real careful when it comes to orbs. They're not one of my favorites to keep around. I work at Real World Memorial Center in Fort Worth, Texas. Do you really? Okay, Richard, if you don't mind, later on, probably this week, I want to send you a message. I got a couple questions about that area, if you don't mind. I would love to work with you. It will be my dream. I believe in ghosts. Justina, where are you at, Justina? Tell me where you're at. Yes. I seen ghosts when I was 7 years old. And it's really hard when you're young because you don't know how to process it as properly as an adult, because you're always conditioned to believe that you're not really seeing these things like that. And then even at that point, it's so real for you that it's very scary. A lot of things scary at 7. I remember, and people laugh at me, but the one thing I remember being scared of when I was 7 was I watched Ghostbusters and went to bed scared because that dude, that zombie, decayed guy in the taxi, I thought he was sleeping next to me. And that's where I get to where, did I just see what I just saw, or am I imagining it when I was a little kid? And I've had to go back in my own memories and kind of separate those things. It's not as easy as that sounds. I want to start my own group. Give me some advice. Mike, the best thing I can tell you to do is first, I'm assuming you know what you're doing when it comes to investigating paranormal and working around paranormal, things like that. So I assume that you already have your knowledge about it. The best advice I can give you for a group is never fight about hierarchy. That is the last thing you guys should care about. You should always enjoy what you're doing. Okay, I know people watching, you see on TV, okay? Enjoy what you're doing. Smile, have fun. It really does make a big difference. The people who are working on you, make sure they're professional enough to understand that they need to respect the areas. Make sure they're as professional as you are. Okay? You always want good professionalism. You want to make sure it's respectful. You want to make sure people aren't sitting there while you're trying to EVP. They're kicking each other in the butt. Things like that. Make sure it's all that. And make sure that you're very careful with what you do and that they are too. Don't invoke things you don't understand. The number one thing that I could ever say is trust the people you work with. Because if you cannot trust these people, how do you know they're not falsifying information? So just keep that in mind. Let's see. Okay. Every time I go to the grave of Dimebag Darrell, yes. Something happens. What happens? Sure, I'll help you as much as I can. Okay, I'll get those questions to you probably sometime this week. Washington. Justina is in Washington. And you know what, Justina? You mess with me all you want, and we'll figure out. We'll get a hunt going one of these times. So especially if I get up that way. Okay, hey from. I want to say that's South Carolina, and South Carolina, hey to you too. Let's see, Toby Hayes. I'm sorry. I actually was going to wear my glasses because I was asked, why don't you wear your glasses? Then I get all relaxed in my house, and I left them in my truck. So, I'm doing the whole cowboy motif. I got the hat, I got the gun, I got my pickup truck. It's awesome. I got my dog. We're good. So, and then I got weird looks. So, hopes if you are friends first before you start a group. Sin, that's a very good shot at that one. It's very true. And you don't want to put ads in the paper going, hey, I'm looking for paranormal investigators to be part of the group. There's another start to problems. Always explore when you are sober. Oh, you know what? That is a fantastic one. I have a lot of people that used to ask me to take them out just for ghost hunting. And if most people know that when I go out, even though when I did drink, I didn't drink when I did that because even one beer, I didn't want to inhibit the fact that maybe if I heard something, was it the alcohol that was causing what I heard? So I didn't drink. And being the fact that I don't drink anymore, now I don't have much of a problem anyway. Because when you're watching everybody kick back a cold one, you're like, that sounds yummy. But now it's like, I don't really care. In fact, I don't take a lot of tours out anymore. It just became very problematic. Let's see. Okay, please. I will, Justine. I'll tell you what. You can message me through the site here, or you can find the personal Facebook and message me through there as well. And we'll figure out something, I'm sure. Hi from Pennsylvania, Deb. Hello to you too. But we'll get back with that. So one of the things that I was exploring in Kanab, especially since it got with the Western and the paranormal stuff, was. There is a legend surrounding a part of Kanab. It's just a little bit north of it. And they believe in this area is actually Montezuma's mine. They have this whole belief around it. People who have tried to get in there have either been pushed away or killed. They've tried to. What it is, there's a nice little. What this is where they're telling me. This is the stuff I've been researching because I'm really interested in this. On the paranormal aspect, yeah, it'd be cool to have the whole national treasure. Hey, I found a nice, expensive, a bunch of gold. But on the paranormal aspect, because what's keeping them out? And this might be a Native American artifact that's doing this. They've tried to sink a drill down from the top to go down through. And it caught up, busted. A couple people died. They've sent swimmers down there. I guess they've been scared to death and went swimming away and wouldn't come back. There's a lot surrounding this one little thing. Now, whether or not this is actually Montezuma's mine or if we found something else a little different is beyond me. But it's really sparked my interest to the fact that there's a lot of legend around it, and it all involves paranormal keeping out whoever's trying to get in. And if this is true, and I'd love to get in there. I don't care if I got to throw on scuba gear, whatever I got to throw on. I want to jump in there and find out, or like I said, and I'm hoping to get with the film crew that was going to go out there a while ago, and just let me see if I can get through there. But we'll see what happens at that point. But it's really one of those urban legends that I've really gotten interested in because it's not as much of a hokey story as I thought it was at the beginning when I started reading about the people who have tried to get in there. And it originally was something that came up as a story because they're laughing because they won't let them drain the pond because of a rare golden snail, which I always have a good time laughing about. So it started with that, but that's where it escalated from. Let me go backwards there. The conclusion on findings at your sister's house just recently. Okay, Dustin, I just got yelled at about that for not bringing those things up because I was sent videos from my niece, from my wife. I had videos on there. I'm going to post some stuff on there. There is something running around there. The conclusion is that I believe there's actually two things. One of them is a probability of a little girl. The other thing that I am looking at, I'm inconclusive, so I don't want to say anything yet until I have shown the evidence to my older sister and asked her opinion, make sure that she's okay if I release this as well. But there was a little girl there. I do have some, like a purple object showing up in a lot of the different things. This is, or magenta, purple, just depending on the coloration and how big it is. And it's really weird because it's really following my nephew and my niece very closely. So as the EVPs go, didn't catch a whole lot there as I know of yet. I'm still going through that. the video I've still got to finish going through. I'm almost completely done with that as well. But that's my conclusion. Whether or not I had something wander in for the time being or it actually is there permanently is another matter. But once I get go over the evidence with my older sister, then I will definitely be I'm going to start putting some of it on right now, probably today or tomorrow, just so you get a look at what we are seeing. Maybe you have your own opinions, and you can always shoot me a message or even comment, say, hey, this is my opinion. It's great, it's garbage, whatever you want to do. I like to work together and hear what you have to say as well. Let's see. Careful down there. I'll do my best. Why do you have a board behind you? Oh, okay. We did this last weekend. Okay, it's this is like I said, this is one of the first edition that Parker Brothers came out with the whole Ouija board thing. Was never used. It was never opened, and I've actually had to bind it just to make sure it stays. It's never been in use, just to be on the safe side. It still says Parker Brothers on the bottom, so it's a really neat piece. It's a first edition, and and now it's considered an antique. So that's why that's up there, and it's kind of cool. I love this stuff. I have a Ouija board coffee cup, koozie. I think they're great. You just got to be careful with them, with actual Ouija boards. Let's see. What's an object like what you showed on the cell photo? It's pretty close. It's pretty close. I actually believe I have one that's a little bit better too. I got a buddy of mine who's just making sure that it's not a flaw in the cameras and things like that at the moment. Again, we don't want to lie to you. We don't want to give you crap and find out that there's stuff on the lens. We want to make sure that everything we give you is legitimately unexplainable. So we're going to keep pushing with that. I love those cell photos and everything like that. My niece, I keep trying to remember to contact her and tell her thanks for getting the videos that she got, because they're pretty remarkable. So with that, what we got? It's cool. My mom had one, and it was not good. And some people don't believe in the good and bad spirits, and I do, just because of my personal exploits. So it's just be real careful with whatever you do when it comes to paranormal. I don't want anybody to get hurt, of course. I don't need to find out that any of you people that I chat with and talk with and come on live for are injured or hurt or anything like that. So I want you all to be careful. That is why I ask, and that's fine. Ask anything you like. I know I got some weird. I got my little raven there and my fake candles, because I don't need to be lighting candles all the time. I don't really have the big ambiance that I'd like to put out there, but I still love my little collection of things here. I have some pretty interesting pictures and stuff running around, but I don't play it at all. So when I go back to the Montezuma's mine, it really, when it translates to where it's sitting, and I've researched the area, you're looking at a lot of different Native American cultures. Well, I shouldn't say a lot. There's a couple Native American cultures that attribute to that area, especially when it comes to ceremonies, religious rites, if you want to call them religious rites. I don't know what else you'd call them right now. There's even deaths, awakenings, just basic sacred ground. And that could be the biggest reason why it's keeping people out. Maybe we're not meant to be in there. And I'm not saying I need to even go all the way in. What I really want to do is just find out what's blocking it. If I don't go in, fine. I just want to see what's blocking it. I want to know what's blocking it. Once I know, I'll gladly walk away from it, because you know what? If they're that protective over what's in there, then we are meant to stay away. But if it's not, then I wouldn't mind swimming up in there and seeing what they got going on, and then exploring the area. I was told there's also a couple burial grounds not too far from there that are undisclosed locations. So the Native Americans who were talking with me about that, they're more than happy to show me the area and show me where the burial sites are. The burial sites and stuff are not something I can film or share or tell you. Um, Throughout history, when it came to Native Americans in America, the people were desecrating graves. They were just digging them up. I mean, it was just horrible, horrible stuff. So, and they still look at it that way. And they think to themselves, and which is probably true, that if they were to show where these graves are, museums probably have stuff to do with it, and the government might get involved with it. Sometimes it's just better to let the secret stay there, and I believe that too. So if they're willing to let me in there, I can tell you about what happened there, and that's probably going to be it. And if that actually occurs, then I will have one of the gentlemen with me on live to talk about it as well with us, so that way you can get an understanding of their beliefs, and maybe they'll even ask the question of why they don't want us to know. They don't want people to know where it's at. So we'll continue with that when we get things moving on there. That's going to happen around the spring and summertime. It's not too far away from where I live. What do we got going on here? Hello, Northern California, NorCal. What part of Northern California? Paul Donald. Let's see. Sounds like a crazy place. Be careful. I'm going to do my best. Just like anything else, you got that little hint of danger, but I'm going to do everything I can to make sure it's as safe as possible. Oh, let's see. Like they did at Geronimo's gravesite, and that's possible. There is a lot of different aspects to the Native American burial grounds. Like out there in Lee's, there's Babylon we talked about the other week, and up where the petroglyphs are, things of that. They actually, from what I've been told, the shaman is actually buried up in there, but no one knows really where, and that's probably another reason why. And for all I know, he could have been buried with the silver that they were hiding. Who knows? Probably not, because I've never heard anything about that, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen. But we can make up urban legends all day long if we want. Let's see. I would find it very disrespectful for anybody. I don't care who that museum, our government, to desecrate a Native American burial ground, especially if they know about it. I know they go over to different countries and they're finding different burial sites that were forgotten. Okay, but most of these burial sites, Native American burial sites, are very well known amongst the Native American community, depending on what section of or group of people, we'll call them, I was told group of people, tribe, but group of people, tribe, it just all depends on where they might have buried them and how they might have buried them, and it just kept quietly. So this way things can remain quiet, because you just need to leave their people alone in their eyes. Now, I don't know a lot about Native American spirits. I've been told a lot about skinwalkers and things, but I was told with the one that's hiding or guarding this area is not a skinwalker. It's more of the paranormal belief, and this might not have been something that was human at any point. This might have been something they summoned up or called upon. So it's something that I'm really, really looking forward to finding out if they'll let me do it. That's the biggest thing with every paranormal investigator in the world, if they'll let you do it. Around here, it's really iffy. So we're going to keep working. We're going to keep trying. In fact, we got one coming up here soon. As soon as we get everything squared away, that'll be in a real podunk of it. I'm talking podunk of a town, but has a really rich history about what's going on. So, and I'll share that with you once we get things moving on that, which will actually be quite soon. Let's see. How do you know a bad spirit and a good one? It's really hard to differentiate between a bad and a good spirit at the beginning. Sometimes you get these spirits that are playing with you. They make you look like that they're peaceful, they're fun, they're just a little mischievous, and then it just becomes, and the more it stays, the more it grows, the stronger it gets, and it turns into something bad. How do I know? Honestly, as I do an investigation, I can only assume with the evidence what I got. And then I do whatever I can to make sure it stays where it's at and doesn't follow me home and doesn't come with us and leaves everybody else alone. So the evidence that I get and collect, I've actually felt paranormal that has been very hateful, very disturbing, very violent, just absolutely horrible, horrible things. And I have felt paranormal, or it felt like I was getting a hug, where I felt like $1,000,000, like I was being walked, like I was welcome to be where I was at, like I was wanted, and that it wasn't there for anything horrible. So I guess a lot of times it's just like human beings when you're looking at humans. Sometimes you have that gut instinct to like, I don't like that person. Something about them I don't like, you know. Mine just usually comes from gut, and then I'll prove it or disprove it as I need to. But I don't let it follow me home to find out if it's actually been a bad paranormal experience. Just I let it stay where it needs to stay, unless it's gonna. And there are people around me that can help them move on, but I like to keep them not from following my people around or me and causing problems. But okay, but it happens to all of us. I get followed home every other time. So just got to be real cautious and real slow about things. Let's see now. Where did I leave off? Like the see. Okay. I more than likely spelled that wrong. Lynn. Okay. I'm gonna have to take you on that one. That's I can't read. I couldn't even tell you how to spell that either. I'm terrible at that stuff. Let's see. We got Mike. We have a lot of Native American sites here. Have been in a few where people are allowed. That's cool. I've tried very hard to get on the Shivowitz area because of something that I had seen before, and they're not letting me in there. So I'm hoping to get a little more in with the Utes and the Paiutes and the Navajos in the area to get into some of the different areas. So I'm working on it as hard as I can. It's just, and I don't like saying it this way because it's not really a race issue, but this color really doesn't do well with the Native American community when they're trying to go into their sacred lands. And I understand that. And some of them are getting a little more used to me, so it has nothing to do with who I am. It's just that, hey, you got to be a little bit cautious. Just like Paranormal Word, Mr. B. All right, what's up, B? Where did you experience the most evil? Huh? Besides people. Evil. I had one of the worst ones was the one that came here. That was taking the breath away from me. That I had a lot of issue with. I don't know where it came from or why. I still ask myself this day. I remember the burning, the horrible, horrible feelings there was. I mean, it was something so dark that I can't even imagine feeling like that on a normal basis. It was just so horrible, and I honestly believe that what that came to me was the most evil thing that I have ever encountered. And why it came here to this house, I have no idea. I don't know why it came to me and why it was attacking me, but it did, and I took care of it. Took a while, but I took care of it. It has come back and forth a couple times, and I've been ready for it every time, and I'm ready for it again. But I haven't seen it in probably about 3 years now. So I might have to bring that one back up on another live chat and bring that story to light once more, and we'll talk about that. In fact, actually, I think the things that I've got getting ready to post for this week have a lot to do with the outer body and the evil and things like that. So we'll get ready with that too. What do we got going on? Hi, Tracy. Did you ever had came with you? I'm assuming you're saying, did I ever have one come with me? Yes. I've had them follow me home many times. And a lot of it's my fault for not separating the connection. Is because, it's 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm wrapping things up, and when you're in too much of a hurry and you do the wrong things and something follows you home. And then I actually have things that follow me home by mistake that just seem to happen. It happens quite a bit. I got to get right there. Okay, and so we have many things. Everybody's messaging me here, there, everywhere. I like it. I love all the questions. Keep them going because this is what keeps running it. And I really like the fact that a lot of people are getting really interested and really coming up with great questions. I love these questions. I don't care if I have to answer them 100 times. Ask them. Because you might not have been on yesterday and you might not be on next Sunday. So I do like that. I do believe with the Native American stuff that it's very sacred and things like that. So what I'm about to embark on will be met with a lot of respect and a lot of heart. What the Native Americans endured is quite traumatic. There's a lot of history behind that, and with the spirituality that those cultures had with themselves, the afterlife, the earth. I mean, what better people to really talk to about paranormal than those who